Hey guys, it is the next day and I'm back on working on the rear end. Gonna try to get those perches moved over. I get in there with my micrometer and see how far I've got to move it over, get everything set up. But I got a package from Speedway, so let's see what's it. Okay, so let's see what's going on here from Speedway. I believe these are the mounts for the rear disc brakes. So let's see here. Do this with one hand. I've got to get a GoPro one of these days, but I'm just using my phone. Okay. Go cut this open right here. This side. All right. Let's see if I can get this open here, guys. Wait a second. All right. Here we go. These are the weld-on brackets, I believe. Here we go. So we have two set of weld-on brackets. I'm really hoping that these brackets are going to fit with my previous brackets. So let's look at the previous brackets that I had here. Okay. Okay, so I was hoping that it would just be this piece right here. Nope, it's just this piece. So, yeah. I'm hoping that's going to move it over far enough. I don't know if it's going to. What I mean by that is I don't know if it's going to move the caliper and everything over, because this one, see how this one is stepped over? Like that. See how it comes over? And this one right here, the weld-on is directly in line. It's just identical to this one, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll keep you guys posted on that as I start to mess with that. Let me get the rear end tacked together, and oh man, I'll be totally bummed if this doesn't work. All right, well, always something to work on. Let's see here. Let me look at this. I mean, it's the same size, it looks like, for the caliper, so I believe it's like 5.5 or whatever, center to center. So it's going to fit with the caliper. I just don't know if it's going to come over far enough. I guess if I needed to, I could drill some holes and fabricate another one of these pieces right here. Just cut out a piece of steel, or see if I can get it over to the plasma table and get it cut out and put the holes where I need them. I don't know. Anywho, we'll see what we can do from here. That's just kind of disappointing. But anywho, we'll go from there. Here we go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and we're going to jump back on the rear differential or the axles, not the differential, the axles, and we'll get this figured out and see what we're doing here. So, as of yesterday, last video that you saw, we were lined up. I had one lined up, and then it was off by a little bit. So I'll get my little fancy-dancy tool here and see if I can find out what the gap is and try to do halfway between and see what we're sitting at so I can get everything to line up. All right, I'll move you guys just a sec. All right, guys, there's two ways I'm going to try this. One, I'm going to try to be fancy-dancy with my micrometer and find out the difference and split the difference. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to set the axle on here and cut the spot welds, move it until I get it where I want it. Make sure I'm equal distance in between and tack it there. So we'll see. Let's try the fancy-dancy micrometer way first and see if that works. And if it doesn't, then hey, we're going to have to go the way it is. So let's see if I can do this here. All right, up we go. Okay, so let's grab the fancy-dancy tool here. Jump down here and find out what's going on. All right. It is literally, I don't even know if I need to use my micrometer. Huh. So it is literally the distance. It is directly on the outside. I'm going to show you guys this here. Let me grab and bring you guys over so you guys can see this. Grab my phone here. All right, so looking down here, let me get you guys in good position to see if I can. Here we go. All right, so if we're looking right here, you can see that right there, the post is sitting directly on the edge. So I just have to go from the edge to the center of the hole, split that difference, and that should give it to me. Hey, who'd have thunked it, right? That worked out. All right, so I'm gonna give that a shot. I'll cut my tacks, find out what that distance is, and move it over, and we'll go from there. Okay, so use my little fancy dancy micrometer here, and I measured from here, that edge right there, all the way to here, and it ended up being 8.5. And so I just took half of that, which is 4.25, and that's what I'm going to move them over. So I'm going to move each one of them over to that slot. The end right here will be moved over to there. So I'm going to cut the tacks now, and then I'm going to move everything over, move each side over 4.25, and that should line it up. And I'm only going to put one tack on each side this time. I think I've learned my lesson. 3 tacks was one too many. If it is correct, then I'll probably put in an extra tack or so. So, all right, here we go. Time to cut the tacks and do our little measurements. This side. Now let's get the other side. that down now and give it another go. Well, I'm going to grind this side down. Let's take these guys down. Guys, I got to tell you, I was watching Half Rods, and Robert Half was talking about these Norton Blaze roll-lock discs. I bought some a while back after watching him. Man, these things are magic. Fantastic. I recommend them. You can get them on Amazon. Norton Blaze, come in different grits. This is a 36 grit. I would get the smaller. These are the 3-inch, like he has mentioned. I'd get the 2 inches, but yeah, awesome, outstanding, magical little thing. Okay, I'm going to shut you guys off. Compressor's going to get loud. I've got to recharge my compressor, and then we'll be back. Okay, guys, sorry about that. My cell phone died, and battery is still pretty low. So, it ended up being, yeah, tried the micrometer, ended up being way off the next time. So, did process of elimination, set the rear end up with both of the brackets, and just slowly moved one side over. Ended up being, just so you guys know, measurements, if you're using the Ride Tech Street Grip leaf springs, it is going to be 3/4 inch on each side. So instead of being 38 center to center, it ends up being, here with one hand, so you guys can see this here, it ends up being 39 inches center to center on each side. So that's it, guys. The rear end is sitting. Now, it's still tacked on. I don't have anything, actually welded in, like I haven't done beads or anything like that. I might have to cut them off again and put weld through primer down. I have to get some 3M weld through primer, but I know what it is now. I've got everything set up. I might just shoot primer underneath from here and then weld it down the way it is, and then get in there with some of the chassis saver and just cover it all up, and it'll be good to go. But before I weld it, I have to take the axles out. I have to have one of my friends is going to be kind enough to turn down the centers for me so that you can see right here, guys, see the yellow right there? They have to be turned down to there to have, so that the disc will fit on. So the next thing is checking out these brackets from Speedway and see if they're actually going to work or not. The weld-on brackets, I think it's going to be off. I think it's going to be way off because it needs to be moved over. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. I know I showed you in the last, well, just a second ago. You guys saw it in the other video, but so this is how these brackets go on. So on the Ford 9, when this is sitting here like this, so it's sitting on and it's bolted on like this. See the spacer these spacers add to move the caliper over so that the caliper sits over the rotor? Well, if I just have the bracket by itself sitting over here, that's going to move the caliper way over to the left or to the right. So I don't see how that's going to fit at all. So I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to take these out or if I'm just going to send them back and make my own, because it was $90 to get these sent to me. That's a little, yeah. I know the guy knew what he was talking about, but that bracket with the spacers, it's just, that's not going to work. I don't see how it's going to work at all. So anyway, I'm just going to have to mess with it, and I'm going to have to call Speedway and possibly send those back this week, and hopefully get a piece cut out of steel and see if I can get some, I don't even know what that is, 1/4-inch steel, and cut some out and just fabricate my own, I guess, is what I'm going to have to do. So, all right, guys, well, that's on to the next thing, but let's talk about our successes. The rear end is sitting on, and I am stoked about that. Got the front end, so I'm still waiting for the front end to get assembled as far as the bushings pressed into the upper and lower A-arms. Once I get those back, then I can start assembling that. I'm waiting for the rotors to come from Rock Auto, and then I'm also waiting for the rear, how can I explain them? Rear chassis support cross members that I'm having built for those brackets that I made. And so that's kind of what's going on with the chassis. And then when I get this rear rotor thing taken care of and the calipers, then it'll be a roller. I'm going to order the brake lines and fuel lines here pretty soon. And then we're going to have to send the transmission. We've got a 4L60E. Got to send that in, get it rebuilt. Someone was telling me I have to have, or better to upgrade the clutches on that to carbon fiber, I guess, clutches. So I have to look into that, get those taken care of. And then I've got an old 327 block that I might use just to mock up. We'd thought about putting the 327 in this. We still might, but we don't know if it's viable or not because one of the cylinders is pretty munched. But it's a really cool 327. But anyway, guys, that's it for this time. Thanks for checking things out. Like and subscribe. Please check out the other YouTube channels I have down below in the description. Those guys are awesome. They have a wealth of knowledge. I really appreciate their channels and all that they do. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you later.